Get ready for a journey that'll grip your heart and lift your spirit. In the pulsing streets of Lagos, Nigeria, a young woman's quiet courage hid a truth that would rewrite her future. This is Amara's story, a waitress who faced hardship with a smile, until one moment turned her world upside down. Amara lived in a small room above a mechanic shop in Lagos, where engine roars rattled the walls and rain dripped through the roof. Every morning, she smoothed her waitress uniform, polished her worn shoes, and trekked 4 miles to Mama Bose's kitchen, a vibrant restaurant in the city's heart. Her smile warmed the place, even when her feet ached or her stomach growled from missed meals. At Mama Bose's, Amara was a gem. She scrubbed tables until they sparkled, refilled drinks before anyone asked, and took extra shifts without complaint. No wahala, she'd say, her voice gentle but steady, mopping up spills or fetching extra forks. But 2 waitresses, Funmi and Chioma, didn't like her shine. They called her Miss Good, bumped her trays by mistake, and laughed when plates shattered. "Run back to your bush, Amara," Funmi taunted, rolling her eyes. Amara just smiled, cleaned the mess, and kept moving. She was always early, stayed late, and never let their words break her. What kept Amara so strong? Life had been rough from day one. Abandoned as a baby at an orphanage gate, she arrived with a faded blanket and a note. Keep her safe. No name, no family. The orphanage was hard-scarce food, shared clothes, and kids who teased the crescent-shaped birthmark on her wrist. At 18, she aged out, moved to Lagos, and landed the job at Mama Bose's. Her room took half her pay, and she often went hungry to cover rent, but Amara clung to hope. A quiet spark inside her whispered of brighter days. One hot afternoon, Mama Bose's was buzzing. The air smelled of egusi soup and fried plantain, and customers shouted orders over whirring fans. Amara glided through tables, balancing trays, ignoring Chioma's hiss. "Hurry up, village girl!" She wiped sweat from her brow, her birthmark peeking out as her sleeve slipped, and kept smiling. Mama Bose, the tough but kind owner, watched her with a nod, though she rarely spoke praise. Then the door chimed, and the room went quiet. A man entered, dressed in a sharp suit, his watch gleaming like it could buy the whole street. He moved with calm authority, but his eyes carried a shadow, like he'd lost something dear. Diners stared, and even Funmi stopped gossiping to gape. Amara grabbed a menu and hurried over. "Welcome to Mama Bose's. Table or booth?" "Booth," he said, his voice deep but weary. He followed her to a corner booth, settling in. "I'm Amara, your server. Tea to start?" Her smile was bright, despite her sore legs. "Tea. And something good." He barely glanced at the menu, his gaze flicking to her, then away. "Pounded yam with chicken stew is fresh. Good choice?" she asked. He nodded. "Fine." She felt his eyes linger as she walked to the kitchen. Rich folks sometimes stared, so she let it go. When she brought his tea, his spoon clinked to the floor. Funmi and Chioma snickered, staying put. "Oh, I'm so sorry," Amara said, kneeling to grab it. Her sleeve slid up, flashing her crescent birthmark. She handed him a clean spoon and smiled. "Anything else?" He froze, staring at her wrist, then her face. His hand shook, nearly tipping his tea. "That mark," he said, voice low. "Have you had it since birth?" Amara touched her wrist, puzzled. "Yes, always. Why?" He blinked, like snapping out of a dream. "Nothing, thank you." His voice wavered, and he looked away. Amara frowned, but returned to her tables, his odd reaction lingering. The man was Chief Deo Adebayo, a billionaire whose tech company lit up Lagos and whose charity work filled headlines. But today, Deo wasn't the polished mogul. His heart pounded as he watched Amara, her birthmark stirring a memory he'd buried for 20 years. 2 decades ago, Dio was a young coder, 23, married to his love, Yemi. They welcomed a daughter, but Yemi died during childbirth. Deo named the baby Amara, after Yemi's mother, noting her crescent birthmark identical to her mother's. Grief and debt crushed him. His startup was failing, and he couldn't care for a newborn. In a moment of despair, he left Amara at Gracehaven Orphanage with a blanket and a note. Keep her safe. He vowed to return, but success came slowly, and guilt kept him away. He built his empire, remarried, and had a son, but Amara's absence haunted him. He'd searched for her, but the orphanage's records were incomplete. Now, that birthmark changed everything. Deo stayed through the rush, watching Amara. She calmed a grumpy customer, gave an extra plantain to a kid, and smiled despite Funmi's sneers. Her kindness echoed Yemi's, twisting his heart. As the crowd dwindled, Amara noticed Deo's untouched stew. "Sir, is the food okay? I can get you something else," she said, approaching. "It's fine," he said, his voice unsteady. "Amara, can we talk? Outside?" She glanced at Mama Bose, who nodded. They stepped under the awning, the air thick with coming rain. "What's this about?" Amara asked, arms crossed, nervous but curious. Deo exhaled. "Your birthmark. I know it. Amara, I'm your father." Her eyes widened, her breath catching. "What?" she whispered, stepping back. "That's impossible." "I left you at Grace Haven," he said, eyes wet. "Your mother, Yemi, died when you were born. I was young, broke, and lost. I thought I was protecting you, leaving you there with a note to keep you safe. I've regretted it every day. Your mark, your mother, had the same one." Amara's hand covered her mouth, tears spilling. "You left me?" Her voice shook, pain and shock mixing. "I was alone, mocked, hungry. And you were out there rich?" Tears glistened on her cheeks. Deo's face crumpled. "I failed you. I've spent years searching, too ashamed to face what I did. I'm here now, and I want to make it right." Amara wiped her tears, her heart racing. "I always wanted a family," she said softly, "but it's so much." She looked at him, seeing his guilt, and her anger eased. "Are you sure I'm her?" "I'm sure," he said, pulling a worn photo from his wallet, a young woman with a crescent birthmark. "This was Yemi. You're our daughter." Amara's tears fell again, but a shaky smile broke through. "Okay," she whispered. "What now?" Deo's eyes lit up. "I want you in my life, Amara. I run Adebayo Tech. I'd love for you to join as a manager. You're kind, sharp, perfect for it. And I want to give you a new start. A house, cars, anything you need. Your life can be different if you'll let me." Amara's jaw dropped. "A manager? A house?" She laughed through her tears, stunned. "I'm just a waitress." "You're my daughter," Deo said firmly, "and you're capable of greatness." She hugged him, tears soaking his suit. "Thank you," she whispered. "I want to try." The next weeks were like a dream. Deo bought Amara a modern apartment in Lekki with huge windows and an ocean view. He gifted her 2 Carsa Sleek SUV and a zippy coupe, though, she chuckled, saying she'd need to learn to drive. At Adebayo Tech, Amara started as a team manager, nervous but eager. Her warmth won over her colleagues, and she excelled, soaking up every lesson. Deo mentored her, proud but gentle, giving her space to grow. Amara kept her job at Mama Bose's part-time, not ready to let go. Funmi and Chioma, shocked by her new life, apologized for their meanness. Amara forgave them, even helping them with shifts. Mama Bose grinned, saying, "I knew you were destined for more, child." Amara's life was unrecognizable. She started evening classes in management, read her novels in her airy apartment, and shared meals with Deo, learning about Yemi. One evening, driving her SUV to Mama Bose's, she smiled at her wrist's birthmark, tears of joy in her eyes. "I found my place," she said softly.